So why did you quit your job?
I didn't want to. So I quit my job at 45, February 2nd, 2018, whatever that Monday was. I think it was February 2nd, might've been the 3rd. I was a sales guy. I was a senior leader. And the reason I remember it is because in sales, you get a new patch, you get a new territory, you get a new quota every fiscal year. And at the last company I was at, Splunk, you can look at LinkedIn, it was my last company. The fiscal year was January 31st. So first couple of days of the new year, you get those new team, new patch, new quota. And I was brought into this back room, which I'd never been in. And they ended up giving me the 3 things that I didn't want. They also gave me a boss that frankly didn't like me as much as I didn't like him.
Why didn't he like you?
Because I was arrogant. I was cocky. I was very good at what I did, and I wasn't shy. I wasn't PC. I voiced my opinion.
Had you known this guy prior to?
Oh, we knew of it. Yeah, we were at the same place.
And then it just so happened to be that you guys got randomly assigned each other as like.
It wasn't random. He was above me in the org chart. I'm sure he asked for it because he wanted to get me out. I'm sure it was purposeful.
Really?
What's the point of getting you out if you were making good sales and hitting your numbers?
I mean, W-2 employees, especially sales, high income, high pressure. There's a lot of ego. He didn't like the shine that I had, right? I was right out the CRO, chief revenue officers. I took her places and stuff. So I was getting more shine than him, and that really annoyed him.
What was it exactly that you were selling?
So I was selling software for Splunk, security software, IT management software. Mm-hmm. So it's called enterprise software is the space. They were $1 million contracts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my quota at the time, I think, was 100 million, 101
How
million.
do you get into that? How do you decide that's what I want to do? Were you good at sales to begin with? Or
no, dude, I was an accountant. I was an accountant out of school. I was a bean counter. So I was a bean counter at 22, 23. My company Quantum at the time, you can go back and look at LinkedIn. These are all there. I don't remember the years, but they'll be close. So I was at Quantum as an accountant. We adopted an enterprise software called Oracle. I was on that.
Shout out Oracle. They sponsor this podcast.
Yeah,
love them.
I heard that. Yeah, there you go. Shout out Oracle. Love you, Oracle. Thank you for everything you've done. So Oracle gave me a chance to work on a project as an accountant. So I was domain expert, but I learned the technology. That project went well. I was then recruited to Sun Microsystems to lead their financial aspect. That went well. And then I was recruited to a software company that had Oracle tools as a technician, which is really weird because I'm not an engineer, not a computer scientist, but I knew the business. I knew finance. And then from there, I was the best at it. That gave me a sales role. Sales role led to management. Management led to senior level. It's just, 20 years of grinding and being good at what you do.
So how much were you making from that job, or what were you going to make that year versus what were you going to make?
So I just penciled, I think it was 450 was the year that just ended, was 450.
Is what you were going to make from the corporate job.
Yeah.
And what were you going to make from the rentals in that year? In gross and net?
Oh, gross was 1.5, 1.6, something like that. Net probably 4-ish, 380.
So about the same.
About the same. And again, the beauty about Olivia and I is we live on about 12 grand a month.
That's still, that's a pretty luxurious life.
Oh, it don't suck. But, 12 times 12 is 144. And if, the rentals are making 3, it's easy math.
Did that feel pretty good walking out of there?
I had a couple of days where I smiled so much my face hurt. Have you ever smiled so much your face hurt? Yeah. I didn't even know that could happen. It was pretty awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome. And then I'm guessing you had all of this free time to just sink then into real estate. And
oh no, you would think that. Maybe I should have, but that.
What'd you do? Just like take it easy?
Maybe this is just me, but so the first 2 days, high as a kite. Don't even think I touched the ground. I was so excited. But by Wednesday or Thursday, I start getting depressed for the first time in my life, like depressed. And by like week 3, I am having not necessarily suicidal thoughts, but that's how dark it got. Like, you're a failure, Zuber. You're an idiot. You're not contributing to society. You're a moron. I was having, my self-talk was horrible. 3 weeks after leaving, I'm 45. I don't have to work more. I can do whatever I want. And I'm having these thoughts. And I remember saying, I got to get out of this. So the first thing we did is we just picked up and did a family trip to Taiwan. That's where my wife's from. We spend 3 or 4 weeks there. It's actually where I stumbled upon Graham the first time, in the back of this car where everybody's screaming Chinese and I don't speak Chinese, so I have headphones in. So that was a little bit of escape, but that was just an escape. So I come back from that. It's probably 5 or 6 weeks. I'm still depressed. And mind you, I'm getting phone calls probably 3 times a week saying, hey, come work for me, come work for me, come work for me. We'll give you 300, we'll give you 400. I had one offer at 500 grand a year to come work for me. And I remember sitting down going, if I don't get out of this headspace, I'm going to take a job on Monday because I don't like the way I feel. Not because I needed the money, because I didn't like the way I feel. My ego or whatever that was built up in my job and I just couldn't let it go. And so I had that epiphany Saturday morning. And then what I decided on Sunday was I'm going to go back and fix a mistake. So one of the things that I never did was I never revisited my journey from Norris Drive to nearly 200 units. So what I did is I sketched out something that ultimately became the book One Rental at a Time. So it was that commitment to that book that made me feel better. I would write for 90 minutes, 2 hours a day, and that would be enough that I would feel better. I could go to the gym after. I could go to lunch with Olivia. But dude, I don't know what it was, but I got depressed after quitting. And it wasn't until I stumbled on this idea of, hey, take a breath. You can always get a job. Let's document your story, which has always been a weakness. So I'm still shocked that it happened, but it did happen.
Why didn't you take one of the jobs? Like, why didn't that go through your mind? Like, I could just take the 500 grand and still do the book and still do everything else I'm doing.
So at that point, you're 6 or 7 months out. You really do realize you don't need the money. I stumbled across, this is what I told myself very early on in why I wrote a book, which is horrible. I'm a horrible speller. It's just, I'm not good at it. I wanted to spend the rest of my time creating something that outlived me by 50 years. Something. And that's tough to do. So that's where my focus went. Because again, I could have got a job, but being an enterprise sales leader, it's hard. It's very stressful. Most of those guys are addicted to drugs or alcohol. They cheat on their wives, all this nasty stuff. It's a very unhealthy environment. And frankly, I was done. A lot of people in my space never stop. They just keep wanting to climb the financial mountain. Right? If your yearly nut's 100 and you're taking in 300, does 400 really move the needle? Does 450 really move the needle? So what I wanted to get comfortable with was just sitting down. I reserve the right to change my opinion and go higher if I want to, but I'm spending all my time now trying to create something that outlives me by 50 years because I think you die twice. I think you die once physically, and then you die a second time when somebody's the last person to say your name. And I don't know, I don't know many people that have done that. So that excites me today. And I've been doing it for 5 years. I get almost daily notes now that it's working. So what I stumbled on very early is, hey, let's go try to create a legacy. So that's why I didn't need more money.
How do people find purpose like that in their lives? Because I think a career could go one of two ways. One, it could give people a lot of purpose, but two, it could also be a distraction from that.
That's a great question. I actually think all of us go through 4 seasons in life. So here are very quick. The first season is when your parents take care of you. For a lot of us, that ends at 18, some of us 22, some of us 30. Then there's season 2. That's where you're taking care of yourself financially. Usually sometime in season 2, you have this epiphany, this moment like, hey, I can either keep working until I'm 65 and hope retirement works, or I have to do something different. For me, that meant buying rentals. For some people, that's stocks, whatever it is. But if you're lucky enough, you can exit season 2 and get to what I call season 3, which I'm in today. And that is, you no longer have to worry about your bills. Now you choose where you want to spend your time. That's everything I do now is time-based, not dollars-based. Where do I want to commit the 3 or 4 hours a day that I have that are my choice? So that's the big thing. A lot of people talk about, hey, find your purpose. You never work a day in your life. Crap. When you're in phase 2, go find the thing that makes the most money. Go get really good at that. Live below your means, stack paper, buy assets. If you want to go find a purpose, whether that's painting or, like my wife does, or teaching, kids to play baseball, do that in phase 3 when you have options. So I think some people get that wired. And I've only stumbled on this by accident. I thought I'd work till I was 50. I loved what I did. I would have done it for free. But yeah, I can tell you I'm so much happier today. No stress. I get to choose everything I do. And it's a great feeling. season 4 is much like season 1 where somebody else is taking care of you. You know, you're 80 years old and you've got to go to a convalescent home or something. And the beauty of these seasons is there's no age limits. You can get in and out of them at any time. There's also no guarantee you go past them. But I think a lot of people should focus on making season 3 as long as possible.
When have you been happiest in your life?
Oh, today. Every day I'm happy. Every day I get more
What's
happy.
contributing towards that happiness?
I'm seeing the impact of 5 years of daily discipline. You know, I've done 14,000 videos. I've done this, that, the other. I get notes every day. Now I get text messages from people saying thank you. You know, I got a note this morning from a guy who just closed 4 duplexes, seller financing, 30-year fixed, 4% 30-year money, right? So things are possible if you do the work, right offers. But yeah, I get notes every day. I send out cards to people that do them. And there's no better feeling than putting something out there consistently, your tribe finding you, and then them executing. It's pretty wild.